It was pouring rain that afternoon. People rushed by with umbrellas, avoiding the puddles and the cold wind as if it were poison. But Emma didn't have that luxury. Her jacket was soaked, her shoes were muddy, and her grocery bag was tearing at the bottom. She had just enough money to get some essentials for the week. Life had been tough lately, her job hours were cut, her rent was late, and her sick mother depended on her. Still, she kept moving forward, quietly and kindly. As she waited at the bus stop, she saw him, a man slumped against the side of the shelter, clothes ripped, hair unwashed, hands trembling from the cold. People walked past without a glance. A woman even wrinkled her nose in disgust. But Emma stopped. She knelt beside him and gently asked, "Sir, are you okay?" The man looked up slowly. His face was dirty, beard unkempt, but his eyes were tired, not dangerous. Just defeated. He didn't speak. "I have a sandwich," she said, reaching into her grocery bag. "And water." He didn't reach for it at first, unsure if this was a joke or a trick. But when she smiled gently and set the food beside him, he whispered, "Thank you." Emma stayed and talked with him. His name was Daniel. He had been living on the street for nearly 2 years. He lost everything, his wife, his company, his home. "One wrong move," he said quietly, and everything unraveled. Emma offered to buy him warm soup from the corner diner. He hesitated but agreed. She sat with him while he ate. The cashier looked confused. Why would a young woman be having dinner with a man like that? But Emma didn't care. She saw something different in Daniel. Not a beggar. A broken soul. She gave him her number on a paper napkin. "If you ever want help, real help. I'll try." He looked stunned. "Why are you doing this?" She shrugged. "Because someone helped me when I had nothing." The next day, he called. Emma didn't have much, but she helped him find a shelter. She helped him apply for a replacement ID, and she paid for a haircut and clean clothes from her tiny savings. She even helped him prepare a resume based on the experience he reluctantly shared. Turns out, he used to be a CEO of a mid-sized logistics company. The fall from grace had been sharp and unforgiving. But Emma never judged. She listened. Months passed. Daniel disappeared for a while. Emma didn't hear from him and assumed he had moved on, or perhaps fallen back. She hoped for the best but prepared her heart for disappointment. Then, almost a year later, she received a letter. Inside was an invitation to the grand reopening of a luxury hotel in the city. Attached was a handwritten note. "Dear Emma. You met me when I had nothing. You gave without expecting. You saw me as a human when I didn't feel like one. Now I want you to see what you helped build." The invitation had her name in gold. When Emma walked into the hotel ballroom, she almost didn't recognize him. Clean suit. Polished shoes. Confident stance. It was Daniel, only now, he was back in business. He'd used the confidence she reignited in him to rebuild his life. He secured an investor, restarted his company, and now, he owned one of the buildings downtown. Everyone there treated him like a king. But in the middle of his speech, he pointed directly at Emma in the crowd and said, "None of this would have happened, if not for that woman right there. She didn't know who I was. She didn't care about money or titles. She cared about me. So this hotel's new foundation is named in her honor." Emma stood frozen, hands shaking. Tears welled in her eyes as the audience applauded. But Daniel wasn't finished. He called her to the stage and handed her an envelope. Inside was a check, enough to pay off all her mother's medical bills and more. Emma had once given a sandwich, a kind word, and a little time. And in return, she changed a man's life. Moral of the story. Sometimes the person you help in silence becomes the one who lifts you the highest later. Don't underestimate a simple act of kindness. You never know whose story you're walking into.